It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles.
Welcome in. It's Football Friday. No, I'm sorry. Football Wednesday here at the South Point Studio. It is Sports by the Book. Happy to be with you. I'm Jeff Parles. Oh, look at this. Chris Andrews, Vinny Magliulo is here. We even have a water and a microphone ready to go for Jimmy Vaccaro.
America's treasure.
In 20 minutes from now as well. Gentlemen, how are we doing today? It's kind of amazing. We've zipped through the college football regular season, the final weekend before the conference championship games come the weekend after that.
You know what else today is? It's the first day, I think somebody told me, like 50 days.
First day without football.
Without football.
Right.
We had football but you know, Jeff, we're going to make up for it the next couple of days.
Oh, yes, we are.
Which is why we're going on Football Wednesday instead of Friday.
Busiest weekend of the fall this weekend.
Yeah,
starting tonight.
Well, it's also the weekend where, again, of course, Thanksgiving is tomorrow, so we'll have 3 NFL games. The Egg Bowl tomorrow, which is where we'll start on the college end of things here. Roughly 8,000 college basketball games as well. Championship of Maui going to get going in about 10 minutes. Marquette and Purdue. Purdue a 3-point favorite in that one. I would imagine that tournament. That tournament basically is the class of an Elite Eight this year. Kansas and Tennessee, who are 2 of the 7 best teams in the country, legitimately just played in the 3rd place game.
What was the first round game? Gonzaga
had to play Purdue in the first round.
In the first round?
Yeah. And UCLA, who's no pushover, had to play Marquette.
Just like It's just like March, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jeez. I watched a little bit of the Kansas game last night. That was pretty good.
Yeah, Marquette really, really outplayed them. Nice win for the Golden Eagles last night.
Good defense there. Keep an eye on that team.
We got Joe Holler back there from outside of Milwaukee, and he's been telling me about Marquette, and boy, they sure showed it last night.
No, 100%. They were super impressive last night in that win over Kansas. Kansas beating Tennessee earlier in the day, and of course, tournaments in the Bahamas, Mexico, all over the world, basically, for college basketball. Tournaments.
What was the first one, Jeff? Alaska or Maui?
The Great Alaska Shootout
was that before? Was that before
it was
Maui?
Actually I think the Maui Classic was first,
and
then it was
Maui.
Then
Maui
it went to
was
Anchorage, right?
Was Maui basically everyone caught its attention when Chaminade beat Ralph Sampson? Correct?
Probably, yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's that? 70?
1980? I think it was 80.
80? Okay.
Ralph Sampson and the Cavaliers go down to Chaminade.
1982.
82?
Yeah.
1982. Silver Sword 77, Cavaliers 72.
Wow.
There we go. Even has his own Wikipedia page, guys.
Should, really.
Man.
No. All right, let's get into football here on this Football Wednesday here on the show. Before we get to the egg, we're at the end. We're at the end of the regular season here, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk about the year that has been so far. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we know Handle is just incredible at this point.
Yeah.
This college football is pretty darn close, if not at the tier of the NFL, at least from the betting perspective.
Well, at this point, and I've said this before, on a weekly basis, college does about the same as the NFL. Oftentimes beats it, where the NFL just keeps going. Right. You know, at college, we'll have some sporadic bowl games, but, you know, you got, Eastern Michigan's going to be in a bowl game, so we got to count those, you know. So, I mean, some of the bowl games will be great. Some of them won't be, whereas the NFL is great all the way through February, and that's where the NFL beats college. But on a weekly basis, I mean, the college product is fantastic, and people love it.
I think when Chris and I got into this business, I think NFL was about 4 or 5 to 1 ratio handle-wise. And now, of course, the fact that we're booking so many more teams than we did back then, the TV exposure has increased, and people are more comfortable and knowledgeable with the college game. So, and the playoff has helped it. And I think with next year having a 12-team playoff, I think you'll see a spike in the college handle next year because of that, for sure.
It has been a very fun year. The committee could have quite the mess on its hands in 2 weeks if the proper results happen for said mess.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Bama beating Georgia. Looking at you, Florida State going 13-0.
Yeah.
There could be some really fun things coming across when they make that field 2 weeks from this upcoming, or 1 week from this upcoming Sunday, I should say. All right, let's get into this week, though. Let's start with the Egg Bowl here, guys. Mississippi State in Starkville this year. Really just been a mess of a year for the Bulldogs, firing the interim coach who replaced Mike Leach after his untimely passing. And now really, this is one of those where you're going to see this a bunch here. Yes, Mississippi State going for bowl eligibility this week. They're 5-6. Arguably their Super Bowl, regardless of if they win this game, being some random bowl, probably against a CUSA team. It doesn't have the same ring as it does against taking on the Rebs. Down to 10 on this one from 11.5 earlier in the week. Ole Miss landed in Starkville, Chris.
My numbers came to 12.
Okay.
I opened at 11.5 just to be a little closer to the market. Market was mostly 11 at the time. They took the 11.5, then they took the 11, so I went to 10. By the way, years ago when I had my own website, I did a study on rivalry games. How do the Dogs do in rivalry games? And it's about 50-50. I mean, people love to play the Dogs, a rivalry game. You know, it doesn't, at least up till that point, I don't think things have changed all that much. You know, people tend to overshoot that with the dog, and the favorite is often a better play when they are the better team. I think Mississippi is certainly the better team here. So now that we're down to 10, I mean, I don't love it. I made the game 12, but I'm comfortable needing Mississippi in this spot.
Yeah, I think Chris hit on the key points. I mean, obviously a recruiting game. With so many of these games, you've got players on both teams that were recruited by both, by each, or perhaps not. So there's a little bit of a little added incentive there for those that didn't. You're setting up for next year. If you're Mississippi State, right, you're trying to rebuild and reestablish yourself, and so I could see where there's been support for them too, especially when it was higher than 10. Now, when is there interest in Mississippi? If it gets below that, then probably, but I don't know I'm not so sure it's going to get below that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to get below that either. 54 to total on this one as well, down from the opener of 55.5. No sense whatsoever for me. I don't think Ole Miss is as good as they showed through this year either.
They're good when they're playing weaker opponents.
Yeah.
And the other thing, one more thing about it, and to Vinny's point, he talked about recruiting games, and I said the dog isn't always a play. It's about the same as it is in any other game. But you have to remember, it's a recruiting game, and sometimes the coach wants to step on the throat of the other team. He might run it up late. And you think Lane Kiffin is beyond that? I certainly don't. I think he might be.
Well, this also, I will say this. There's a job due west that the team wears maroon that Lane Kiffin could very easily be in the running for that job in A&M. Ross Bjork is there, who was his AD, who hired him in Oxford. Not saying Lane's going to get that job, but this could very easily be the final time we see Lane Kiffin as the head coach of Ole Miss.
I'm not sure that's such a great job.
I'm not either.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not sure that Mississippi is, but I'm not sure Texas A&M is either.
It'll be a lot of money.
I was going to say, if you're going to give me $95 million to sit at home, then it's a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, it's an excellent job. Jimbo Fisher's agent still finesse king of all time on that. All right, let's go to Friday. All right, I got to do it. Chris, a football game with a total of 25.5.
Right to it he went.
Iowa at Nebraska. Nebraska needs the game to get bowl eligible. Iowa's already won the Big Ten West, so we get to see two more games with Iowa this year after this one on Friday. This is a noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific game on Friday, 121 and 122 in your rotation numbers. Chris, Nebraska's favored by 2, which, by the way, I think that's a little surprising as well. But 25.5 in a college football game is just ridiculously low. And the crazy part of it is it was bet down from 26.
It was bet down from 26.5.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, Vinny and I have known the Gaughan family for oh my God, 45
45, 46 years.
40,
yeah.
yeah. Yep. So young John Gahn, the John's Jr.,
Michael's grandson.
He's in, and they're big Nebraska fans. Michael and his father from Omaha, so they're big Nebraska fans. Talking about the game, and I said, Johnny, this is going to be the worst. This is going to be the lowest total that I can ever remember. I said, I think it'll be about 26. Oh, you're crazy. So we bet each other $1, little dollar, $1. I said, you want the over? So he took over 26. So regardless, I beat young John out of half a point here because we're at 25.5 now. But I got to tell you, you got to have some guts to bet this one over.
So some intestinal fortitude.
Yeah,
there, Chris?
I was trying to think of onions as
there you go.
But that's going to be tough to bet. But listen, one pick six, one kick return. It's probably a good total. But at least I beat Johnny out of half a point, so I'm happy with that.
A couple of solid defenses, obviously, that speak to the total and capable of scoring. By the way, there's a Purdy at quarterback now in this game. Let's remember that for the Cornhuskers. And